guys, let's start. 9 gold medals. Let me give you little gist of the poet, about the poet. Who is the poet here? David Roth. David Roth is an American poet, singer, songwriter and recording artist. His poem 9 gold medals is a poignant record of an incident that takes place at the Special Olympics. So what is your understanding when I say Special Olympics? It means Olympics for differently abled people or specially abled people. Understood? Not for normal people, as in not for someone who is normal, for someone who has some kind of issues, like they are differently abled or specially abled is what we know. So the poem starts like, the athletes had come from so many countries. So the athletes means the sportsmen. They have come from different countries to run the gold, to run for the gold, for the silver and the bronze. So we all know, as they win the Olympics, they will be given medals as well. They will win prize. So what are the prizes they are looking for? Gold, silver and bronze, right? So these are the prizes which they are looking for. They have spent many weeks, so many weeks and months in training, all building up to the games. So they have prepared themselves, they have trained themselves for many weeks and many months, right? So if you want to appear for your exam, what is the first thing you do? You simply go to the exam hall and start writing exams? Like, what do? You study. I don't want to know when you study, but then you study for your you prepare for it, then you start writing your exams, right? So they also came prepared for the Olympic Games because they want to win prize. All round the field, spectators were gathered. So all round the field means all around the field. Spectators means audience. Who are those? Who are audiences? Who are audiences, guys? Richel? People who came to see their games. They came there to see who will win. They are called spectators, or we also know them as audience. All round the field, spectators were gathered, cheering on all the young women and men. So they were cheering, they were encouraging the young men and women, right? Then the final event of the day was approaching. So the final event was what? The last race about to begin. So the final event was the last race, and it was about to begin. That was the final event, and that was a 100-meter race. Understood? We will eventually come to know what was it. The loudspeakers called out the names of the runners. So the loudspeakers, they announced the name of the runners. Everybody's name, whoever was supposed to take part in that competition or in that Olympics, their names were announced through the loudspeakers. The 100 meters, the race to be run. So as I said, 100 meters was the race to be run. कितना मीटर था? 100 meters, right? Okay. And 9 young athletes stood there determined. So 9 young athletes, 9 runners, they stood there. They waited there to run. And poised for the sound of the gun. They poised for the sound of the gun means they stood there, they took their position, they were determined that they will run with full concentration. They were waiting for the gun to go on. So as in, once the gun explodes, they will start the race. Understood? The signal was given, the pistol exploded. So as the signal was given, the pistol, the gun exploded. and a sound came. And so did the runners on hearing the sound. But the youngest among them stumbled and staggered, and he fell on his knees to the ground. So what happens when they heard the sound? They started running. But the youngest among all the runners, how many runners were there? कितने runners थे? 9. So out of 9 runners, there was one person who was the youngest one. जो youngest था उसको क्या हुआ? He could not balance and he fell down on his knees, right? He gave out a cry of frustration and anguish. So obviously, once you are running the race, and that too it's an Olympic, if you fall down, you know for sure that you are going to lose. So what was his determination? He came with a determination that जो कुछ भी हो जाए मुझे जीतना है. And then all of a sudden he falls down. So what would be his state of mind? First of all, he will be frustrated because now he knows that मुझसे तो I don't know whether I'll be able to make it up or not. शायद मैं नहीं कर पाऊँगा. On top of that, it's an anguish. Obviously, it's an anger plus it's frustration. So he is kind of frustrated and he is anguish. His dreams and his efforts dashed in the dirt. तो जैसे वो गिरा, उसका जितना dream था, he would have thought about. He kept on training himself, preparing himself for which day? For this day. And on the final day, when he is supposed to run for that 100 meters, उसका भी कोई सपना होगा कि मैं जाके ओलंपिक का मेडल लूँगा. लेकिन उसका सपना क्या हुआ? चूर चूर हो गया. As in, he fell down on the ground. His dreams also were in dirt, right? But as sure as I am standing here telling the story, now it's a strange one, but here is what occurred. Now the poet says, but as sure as I am standing here telling the story, मैं जैसे यहाँ पे story बोल रहा हूँ, वहाँ पे कुछ strange हुआ, बहुत strange. So that means the poet was also part of that game. Game in the sense he was part of the spectators, audience. तो उसने देखा था, and he is saying that now it's a strange one, but here is what occurred. तो कुछ strange हुआ and something occurred. As the youngest runner fell down, the 8 other athletes stopped in their tracks. तो जैसे ही वो गिरा, उन लोगों ने देखा, 8 के 8, they stopped. The ones who had trained for so long to compete, one by one, they turned around and came back to help him. So just think about their mentality, think about their brotherhood or sportsmanship, that they thought for the guy who fell down, and though they went little further, they turned around, came back, and they tried to help the youngest runner. And this particular race, 100-meter race, is very, very famous as well as very significant, because that will determine who is the fastest runner. So if you see, who is the fastest runner in this world? Usain Bolt. And how it has been calculated that he is the fastest runner, how it has been determined? Because he ran fast through the 100-meter race, and that is the reason why he is called the fastest runner. So it is very significant for any runner, for that matter, to run and win the race. But think about their generosity and their sportsmanship. They turned around, though they went ahead, they turned around, came back, and they tried to help that runner. Now, and lifted the lad to his feet. What did he do? What did they do? They came back and they lifted the lad. Lad means the boy who fell down to his feet. Understood? Then all nine runners joined hands and continued. So all of them joined together, held their hands, held each other's hands, and they started once again. The 100 meters reduced to a walk. So now they were not running. What were they doing? They were kind of walking. And the banner above that said Special Olympics. So Special Olympics means what?
Not normal.
Not? It is for?
Something better than
It is for specially abled person or differently abled person. So, but here the banner says Special Olympics. But what they did, their act was which made this Olympic special. It was the act, not because it was the Olympics for specially abled people, not because it was the Olympics for the differently abled people. They made it special by their gesture, by their sportsmanship, by their brotherhood, by being generous, by showing empathy, by showing sympathy, by showing kindness. Understood? They came, that's how the race, could not have been nearer the mark. Could not have been nearer the mark. So nothing could be so close to the literal meaning of the Special Olympics. So they all together, they went holding their hands and they walked along with the guy who fell down. That's how the race ended, with 9 gold medals. Now what happened? Nobody won the race, but everybody won the race, because all of them held each other's hands and they walked towards the finishing line. And as they crossed the finishing line all together, all of them won the gold medal or 9 medals. That's how it is, the medal for all of them. They came to the finish line holding hands still, and the banner above and 9 smiling faces, and the banner was above them which says Special Olympics, and they all were smiling. Understood? Said more than these words ever will. Said more than these words ever will. So that means whatever the banner was for, Special Olympics, their act of kindness or their gesture or the way they behaved for the other person who was in the race, that spoke more than the banner. Because it's not because of the banner which made it Special Olympic. It is because of their act which made it Special Olympic. Understood? So from this poem, what is the understanding we get? What is that we understand? Sportsmanship, brotherhood, sympathy, empathy, and what else? Kindness. How a human should be. And it's above all, it's not about always winning. It's not about always defeating someone. It's about winning the race with everyone, cooperating with people, making sure that you understand. Understood? Making sure you understand the other person. Try and help people. That is the moral of the story which we understand. Clear? Do you guys have any doubt? Fine. Thank you.